Today I have the honor of talking with one of the OG health coaches and fellow IIN graduate, Michelle Leotta. And I have to admit that I am fangirling just a little bit. I am Megan McCrory, and this is the podcast all about becoming a health coach. When I started looking around in late 2017 for a different path from my corporate career, I stumbled on health coaching. And Michelle's website was one of the very first that popped up, demonstrating that even then she had great SEO. So I joined her private Facebook group, Health Coach Power Community, along with 14,000 other health coaches, where she is super active and engaged in helping health coaches with their businesses. Thank you, Michelle, for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me. When you put it like that, boy, makes me feel like I have been around for a while. It's been a minute.
It has
Wow,
been.
that's so cool. That's so cool that you found me way back when.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like in 2017, I had no idea what health coaching even was. I was looking up like nutrition programs and dietitian programs, and IIN and you both popped up. I was very clear in my memory how that happened.
Wow, that is something. Yeah, the field has really, really exploded. And I'm going to say the last 5 to 10 years, like really the last 5, I want to say it's just been bonkers.
Yeah.
But early on, there are very few of us out there doing anything, especially with a strong online presence.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's great. Why don't you start with maybe sharing a little bit about your background and what inspired you to become a health coach?
Yeah, well, I, like you, one day was like, I got to do something else. And I'm researching and I'm looking for stuff. And I was looking up nutrition programs. And it all came about because of my own health issues that I had been suffering with that led me kind of through that winding maze of doctors who just kind of shrug and say, your blood work is fine. And I'm like, but I'm not fine. I was having fainting episodes. I had debilitating IBS symptoms. Never talked about it though, never diagnosed. This is just in retrospect, I had anxiety, up to here. But my blood work was fine. So it really was this like my own like digging, like I have to do something. What can I do? Who can I talk to? And like putting the pieces together myself. And then I tried yoga, and then I tried, some various rudimentary diet changes, and eventually I got to a place where I wasn't fainting anymore. In fact, I felt pretty darn good. And along the way, I met a couple of people who told me about the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And I was like, that's like, if I was going to go back to school for nutrition, I'm going to go back to school for nutrition. I lived in Boston at the time, so I was looking into Tufts program, their graduate program. I was looking into various other programs, and all of them were going to cost so much money. I was already I was working in advertising. I used to work in big advertising as an art director. And so the thought of going back to school for something other than art and getting all my prerequisites and the years it was going to take to do it, not to mention the money it was going to take to do it, was a huge turnoff. As well as, like, did I really want that job? Like, I wasn't so sure, but every time I kept circling back to IIN, I was like, that's the message. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to help people. That's what's helped me, this more holistic approach. So I just kind of took the leap and went for it. I really never thought I was going to A, have my own business, B, ever health coach anyone. I just thought it was like for my own personal growth, I was going to go to IIN. I thought at that point, career change will never happen. Too hard.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I've talked before on a couple other episodes about like why people go into health coaching, and it's either corporate burnout, they want to do something different, or you've had a health issue. You kind of a little bit of both in there. But I also knew people at IIN when I was in 2018 going through the course that simply just wanted to do it, like you said, for your own health, for the health of their family, their kids, even parents sometimes. It's just, I often say that I was the healthiest during 2018 when I was doing all of these various things and exploring, mostly just paying attention to my body and trying different things. And I mean, that's really what health coaching is all about, is paying attention and listening and then helping others do that with them. Yeah. to get along their health journey.
Yeah, I think a lot of people end up going down this route with no real end goal in mind, which is a beautiful thing. And it's lovely that you can do that. You can't go to get your bachelor's degree or graduate degree going, I don't know, I'm just going to dabble in this. It's going to cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. But with
Yeah.
health coaching, it is accessible enough that you can go, let's just see what happens. And I
Yeah.
love that. I think any healing I've done in my life has started with that thought of like, let's just see what happens. Let's just give it a try. I'm slightly intrigued. I'm being led down this path. So let's just take that one next step, and maybe it's great, maybe it stinks, we'll just find out. In
Yeah.
this case, it was really life-changing.
Now you kind of dipped into a little bit about like your thought process on going to actually get a certification. And at the time when you were doing it, I'm imagining there wasn't too many options that there are like now. So can you kind of compare, or maybe you have a little bit more insight on the different levels of certification? Because I get this a lot. People are like, do I do this whole year program? Do I do this 6-week program? And like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, you're right. I didn't really have to make the choice because in my memory, there were two options. One was IIN in New York City, and it was still in person. And I went there on the weekends. I took the bus from Boston down to New York for classes all weekend long, once a month. The other option was Bauman, which is on the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And that really just wasn't an option. It didn't
Mm-hmm.
make sense for me to travel. Although it's hilarious because once I was in school at IIN, we legit had people in our class who would fly. I think she was from Japan, one of the women. She flew from Japan to attend classes in New York
Wow.
City.
Wow.
I don't know. She must have had I don't know the specifics. I was just like, I really can't complain about my 3.5 hour bus ride.
Yeah.
So there wasn't anything else unless you were going to go, to a college, get your degree, your bachelor's, your master's,
Mm-hmm.
etc. But these days, oi, so many options, and everyone always, I'll say, oh, what school are you from? And they give me some acronym, and I'm like,
Ah.
oh, that's good. I have no idea. I can't even keep track of them. But here's what I know. It doesn't matter. It does not matter what school you go to, what your certification is, short of being a credentialed, a licensed medical professional.
Mm-hmm.
A licensed medical, that's different. Your scope of practice is way different. But if you're like a nutrition consultant, a health coach, nutrition coach, whatever, I don't care. It's all the same. It all means you are not a licensed medical professional, but in one way, shape, or form, you can help people with their health. And that's awesome. And we're all pretty much operating in the same sphere. You're a functional medicine, this, that, or the other thing. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. Our scope of practice remains the same. We can't diagnose, we can't prescribe, right? All we can do is what we can do, which is a lot. So I think that as more schools have popped up, it's created this, like every school, as with any branding, you have to try to differentiate yourself. Oh, you come to our school and you're going to learn about XYZ. You go to my school and we're going to make you more about. But in practice, what matters is the work you do, how you show up in the world, how you help people, the presence that you build for yourself, your marketing, your branding, your outreach. That's what's going to set you apart more than the school.
Over here, we have a lot of coaches that are part or trying to get credentialed through ICF, the International Coaching Federation. And like being credentialed by an organization like that, I don't know, in the US, do you see health coaches need this kind of additional credentials? Does that make a difference in your market versus some over here? I feel like it kind of levels the playing field against all of the European countries a little bit. I'm not sure. It's always also another question that people have asked me.
Yeah, so that's another thing that's happened. So we have all the different schools with all the various titles. I should add, when I first graduated from IIN, we were called Holistic Health Counselors, HHC.
Okay. I haven't heard
And
that
then they
before. That's
changed
good.
it. Yeah, that was our official, put HHC after your name. That's what you were supposed to do. These days, someone will keel over and die if you say the word counselor. Oh my God, that's not what we do. That's what we were called. Then at one point they changed it to holistic health coach.
Okay.
keeping that word holistic in there. These days, I don't know what the heck it is. Then it was certified health coach. But now you can't say certified, because if you're certified, that means that you've gone through and become certified through the NBHWC. That's what everyone is becoming board certified. So now this layer has appeared over all the schools of, now we're going to board certify you after you've gone through your various programs. And a lot of coaches are doing that. From where I sit, the only difference it makes is if a coach is looking to work with a functional medicine practice of some kind, doctor, some sort of clinic, you're looking to be hired by someone else, like an organization who, and this is not all of them, but who is aware that this board certification exists. Because of course, if you were going to hire someone and you knew this certification exists, you'd say, well, let's make sure we hire someone who has it. But it's not very well known. Not too many of those opportunities even exist. Most health coaches are still going at it from the entrepreneurial route, which is what I have always done. And in that case, absolutely 0% of average people walking down the street who are going to become your client have ever heard about being board certified. It's just like when I would say, oh, I'm a certified health coach. Nobody cares. They don't care. They don't know what IIN is. They don't know what this school, that school. They do not care unless you say Harvard, or something. Like, they've never heard of it. So it, I think, makes absolutely no difference if you are looking for your own clients and working independently at this point.
Now let's move on to actually really starting a business, because most of the listeners are either thinking about starting a business or in their certification program, or maybe they just finished and they really want to kind of kick off. And in a recent episode that I did, I talked about 20 different niches that, are kind of popular, just to kind of get the brain juices flowing, what people could think about, which I think is probably one of the things that I find most interesting when I meet health coaches, is to learn their niche. Because I'm like, whoo, I would have never thought about that very, very specific thing as a niche. So it's always kind of a little like a bingo sheet. Have I met one of these health coaches fitting this niche? So I'm wondering, how did you determine your niche, and what is some advice you would have for new or aspiring health coaches when they're trying to identify their niche?
It's funny. I also feel like I'm playing bingo a lot of times when health coaches are talking about their niche, but I'm more like, what is this person going to tell me that actually is not a niche, actually is not helpful at all in terms of defining a target market? We hear a lot of words, a lot of fluff, very little substance. And I think it's because everyone is where I was and where every health coach I knew was when we started, which is like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm good at. I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
I had no idea how I could niche down. And I think a lot of people use a lot of flowery language to describe, like, I help women who are sick of being sick and tired of being tired become the most vibrant version of themselves. And I'm like, bingo, that's another one that doesn't actually say anything,
Yeah.
Or I help whoever with gut health. Nope. No, you don't. Nope. Because very few, hardly anyone that you were talking about actually cares about their gut health. They just want to lose weight, or they have migraines, or they have autoimmune disease, or whatever. We might know things stem from gut health. Not the thing anyone's actually looking for. The target market is all about your marketing. It's not about what you do or what you specialize in or what you like. It has to do with how you draw people in. So it has to be a message that other people are going to respond to. So anyway, when I started, I didn't know. And you just start doing the work. You just start holding workshops, meeting people, see what the universe has in store for you. You can try, oh yeah, I'm going to do this kind of thing with my coaching business, but then opportunities come along you never could predict. So you give it your best shot in the beginning. I also give this advice. You should know your niche. You should pick a niche, right? Do it the best you can. It's almost like you're going to carve a sculpture. You are Michelangelo, and it's going to start very rough. In the beginning, it's just some weird shapes that you cut out of the block. And then as you keep going with the marble, you get a little more detailed here, a little more detailed there. And maybe in 5 years, 10 years, you'll have your David statue that's like, this is my niche. You know, I have really defined it,
Mm-hmm.
but it does take some time to get there. And it's okay. So if you're just starting with like, I'm pretty sure I work better with women than men,
Mm-hmm.
great. Start there. You don't need any flowery language. Just know that you're going to be looking for women. Okay, maybe they're moms. Good. Okay, that's a little more niche from there. It's going to evolve. So I always have health coaches take a stab at it. Say, try to, put a stake in the ground, something useful. I know like that. I know I work better with women than men. Great. Let's start there.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything in particular you know a lot about? Maybe you yourself have gone through Lyme disease.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be very well suited to help people who've also gone through or are going through Lyme disease. That's helpful. That's really helpful. But even within that, what I found as I was working, and I mean, I had been doing the work for years and years and years. I must have been like, oh gosh, maybe 6 or 7 years into my practice. And it was actually my ex-husband pointed out to me. He said, a lot of your clients seem to be a lot like you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, well, you're always talking about how they send you these like color coded spreadsheets when you ask for like a food journal. you know and he was right. A lot of my best clients, the ones I really clicked with, were very organized,
Yeah.
very on top of their game. Corporate types, like lists, bullets, color coded spreadsheets, like type A all day. and and that really got me thinking. And that was the first time that I think I really got detailed in my niche, because I was doing it anyway. I just didn't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just attracting people, and I was working really well with people and then being referred to their friends, because I too am very type A, and that type of thinking makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
When I had more type B personalities in my practice, it just didn't mesh as well.
Mm-hmm.
So then it got me thinking, well, all right, okay, type A women, great. But then I realized, type A women all tend to have the same health issues. And again, I was seeing it, I was living it,
Mm-hmm.
but I hadn't thought about it in that way. But type A women tend to be chronically stressed. Many of them have lived through trauma. That's why they take on this ultra like control freak personality, right? So they have the health fallout that comes from that. And that's everything I had been experiencing with myself, with my clients, and was finally able to put a name to it or to describe it,
Mm-hmm.
because of this, my ex-husband's sort of third party view or perspective as to what was happening. So man, it is hard, but once I found it, I could market to that group of women so much more easily. Like I would offer the spreadsheets. I would offer like the planning tools. They love that kind of thing. Before I was just shooting in the dark, like, I don't know, maybe I'll give them a recipe book. I was able to do things that I knew would really resonate with them. I created a quiz that helped them see how all their different symptoms, health issues were actually related to chronic stress. That's where my practice really truly took off.
Wow. I would have to say, I think knowing your niche, I feel like some women that I've met and men who know their niche up front, I feel like they've already like 5 steps ahead, like a breast cancer survivor. She knows she wants to work with breast cancer survivors, right? I also know a guy in Texas who is working for a coaching company that is geared to gamers. It's Healthy Gamer. I mean, that is an excellent way of, defining this niche of, we have people who are sitting in their chairs all day playing games and they want to also be healthy. And, but I feel like the majority of us have the windy path that you did. And I feel though it's like an egg and chicken and egg scenario, because we hear all the time, you have to talk to your ideal client. And if you don't know who your ideal client is, then who do you talk to? So I like kind of your kind of pragmatic approach of just start doing something. Start doing anything, because I feel like that's also where a lot of people get hung up, is that they try to do something perfect, myself included, and then they don't produce anything. They don't put their face out anywhere. They don't actually interact with anybody, and then they wonder why they don't get started. So I think just doing anything to start then will get you onto the path where you will eventually need to be.
Yeah, everyone has to accept the fact that you are going to be terrible at anything you do for the first time. And you're not going to be great at it the second time either, or the third time, right? So it's just an iterative process of doing anything new, including building a business.
Yeah. So that brings me to my next question. Because you work with so many health coaches, what is a mistake that you see the majority of health coaches making during their first year of starting their business?
Expecting way too much with too little effort.
Okay.
You know, I posted on Instagram that I was accepting clients. I posted twice on Instagram with a link to my application form or to my website. No one completed it. And I'm like, oh, I'm shocked. Oh, no way. Like, you mean they weren't beating down your door? Like, I don't know where this idea comes from that you're going to come out of your health coach certification program, you're going to open up a social media account, and the clients are just going to flow in. It will 1000% not happen like that. I guarantee you. So that is the biggest mistake by far. And it has to do with, I think, too little effort being expected. I think everyone's being sold into these schools, become a health coach, become a health coach. It's easy is like the unspoken subtitle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, you're going to sip smoothies and like do yoga all day and live your dream life, and clients need you so much, and the money is just going to, it really takes about 100 times more work than you think.
Yeah.
That is the truth of it. And then second to that, for some reason, everyone thinks social media is the way that you find clients. It's not.
Okay.
Dead, like, and right there, end the show. It's not. It might be for like a couple coaches who like make it really big on TikTok or whatever. They are the outliers.
Yeah. I think that's actually even my next question is kind of like,
Oh,
how,
so good.
yeah, very, very well done. What is the best way for health coaches to promote themselves and their services? If it's
Well,
not,
think of any business, like any, like think of, I don't know, if you bought your house, your real estate agent, the person who did your mortgage. Think of your insurance broker, your accountant, whoever who, you know, you get massages regularly. Who's that person, or body work, or etc. Did you find them on social media? Did you like follow a hashtag that they had used and then you found them and then you hired them the next day? Like most of these businesses thrive because of their relationships.
mm-hmm.
So like my realtor is a friend of a friend.
Mm-hmm.
My mortgage broker was referred by another realtor. My accountant was referred to like through my community.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's who knows who. That's how business is done. Even at the highest level. I mean, when I was working in advertising, big deals were getting signed because, you know, a couple of the CEOs went out and had drinks or whatever, you know, spent
mm-hmm.
a lot of money on a weekend vacation together or whatever. Like that's how deals get done in every industry. So your relationships with people are going to take you much, much further than something you're trying to do with the algorithm or whatever on a social media platform. It's who you know, who you talk to, who you've been helpful to, who they know, who they talk to, how many times you put yourself in front of people. It is everything to do with human relationships. And if we can keep that front and center,
Mm-hmm.
it does dovetail with a strong social media strategy, right? Because a strong social media strategy helps you create and nurture more relationships if you're doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just one small avenue.
Yeah.
You know, I guarantee everybody you've ever met in your life, your high school friends, your college friends, your local neighborhood, et cetera, are stronger assets than any hashtag.
So what would you say in terms of what kind of percentage of content and value should you be giving away as a new health coach in order to start making those connections with people versus potentially charging? And is there a difference in the like engagement of the participants, whether when they have a free something versus they pay $10 or $20 for a workshop?
Yeah, I hear a lot of coaches like, I need to start making money. Well, sorry, sweetheart. Like, you don't get to make money until you've earned the right to do so, meaning you've earned somebody's trust, People have gotten to know you. You've proven yourself. So it's kind of like being an intern. It'd be like if the unpaid intern, waltzes into the office and you're like, okay, you're in charge of making the coffee and putting the stuff in the mailbox, and they're like, well, I need to start making money. You're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Why don't you just start with getting the coffee and, mailing the mail, and then we'll see. So even though you're your own boss in this scenario, you still have to get there. You have to earn the right to sell your services to anybody. So I kind of giggle to myself when coaches are kind of self-righteously or like entitled, like, well, I need to start making money. I'm like, well, get a part-time job then, because in the beginning, especially in the beginning, but also I've been in this industry for 14 years, you give and give and give for free, because when people see how valuable your free stuff is, they're paying you. If they're paying attention, they're paying you with their time and with their attention. So valuable. So even though it's not money, the fact that they even paused to listen to your podcast episode or read that thing that they downloaded or read your blog post or show up for your workshop, they're paying you with their time. And once they know that that was like so worth it, that's when they'll think about paying you. And if you think it's going to happen the other way, you're going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, no, I like the way that you've presented that as an intern and kind of earning your way through, because I've also gone through that mindset before of, why should I give this away? I've worked really hard on it. Somebody should just want to buy it because they know it, but they don't know who you are yet. And you need to, I think the classic funnel is, you find, nurture and grow, and I think it's really this nurturing part where you're doing a lot of this free giveaway. Because you do this for your group, your Facebook group, every week for an hour, I think, or half an hour. I'm not sure how long it is, but you get up there and have a free Q&A for anybody who wants to ask questions. And I think that, and you've shown up that way for like years. I think that's kind of like your calling card. And then you turned it into your podcast. And there's just a fountain of information that comes out every week. And I'm pretty sure you probably feel like you've repeated yourself 1,000 times by now. Because, every December, new batches of health coaches come into the world and ask all of the same questions. But, you're still there, you're still showing up. So I think it's a great example of what you should do when you're starting off as a health coach.
Yeah, you're right. It's been many, many years now. And even before I had the podcast, I've been running the Facebook group for about a decade, and I still show up in it. And when you see me in my Facebook group, it's me. It's not an assistant. And am I there as much as I used to be? No. Do I have help now? Yes. Am I still there every day? Mm-hmm. And, again, when you see me leave a comment or whatever, like I'm actually doing it. And that is why I have such a loyal base. And when I have something to offer, I'm not even going to say sell, because what I hear is the need from my community. This is what we need. Then I create something to help them with that. Yeah. Right. I offer them the solution to the thing that they need, and then they want it. It's so different from like, I want to sell a product, or I want to be this kind of coach. I'm going to create this program, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing, to an audience that's like, I literally don't care. Like they just are not engaged at all. It has to go the other way. Then you're swimming, you're swimming downstream instead of like fighting it.
Yeah. So what can we do to improve the success rate of health coaches as entrepreneurs? I think a lot of people that come into health coaching are not business savvy. They don't have marketing experience. Some people don't have any business or corporate experience, at all. So, and I feel like, I don't know what the numbers are, but I don't know what the percentage of people who go through health coaching want to be a health coach, try it either as a hobby part-time or even, full-time, and then quit because they can't get their business to go. So what can we do to improve that success rate with health coaches?
I'm wondering, as you say that, if is the goal to improve the success rate of health coaches per se, or is the goal to improve the health of the world, right? Because that's why we got into health coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it just to help all these people who became health coaches just in one way or another feel successful in their lives? Like, I think what I want to say is if you're going to succeed in running your own business, whatever that business is, you need marketing skills. You need business skills. So get that support. You're going nowhere without it. That's that. Or you can spend like a decade figuring it out. That's also okay. Like I said, like it takes time. You're going to have to make mistakes. You just have to have the bandwidth for that.
Mm-hmm.
And some people do and some people don't have the ability to wait that long. Do you know what I mean? To kind of like learn all the lessons yourself, but also be open to what the universe is moving you toward. And that sounds super woo-woo, and I'm not a super woo-woo person, but like here I am, like I love my job. I love where I have ended up right now in my business. I've combined everything I know about marketing and advertising and design and copywriting and, big business with health, wellness, actually helping people, coaching. It's like it all came together, and it's going to be different for all of us. So maybe your quote success as a health coach is not going to be health coaching, but maybe it's going to be something else that you get led towards through this process. I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
We have health coaches who go on to change laws and, affect like change at the government level. They're not like health coaching per se, but they're definitely having an impact.
Yeah.
So be open to it being a step on the path towards like, I don't know what, and neither do you. And that's the really cool thing. And anywhere you end up, if you yourself are trying to sell your own services or your own products, you need marketing savvy.
Yeah. I did the health coaching program while I was still in my corporate job. And instead of quitting right away and trying to start a business, I actually switched jobs within the company. So that kind of freed up my mental energy. And then my company was very happy for me to introduce some Mindful Mondays and some, workshops and things like that. And it was nice to be able to integrate what I was learning as a health coach into my corporate world. And that for a long time really fed me, until I was like, okay, I'm really kind of now I'm really done with corporate. But but I really like how you're saying you don't need to be 100% health coach, try to make a business work, to give the gift of health coaching to people around you, or to be, as IIN says, to be the ripple, to start the ripple and to get that going. Yeah, I have a friend of mine, I do another podcast called So Frickin' Healthy, and she's also an IIN grad. And she started by, teaching, having like kids cooking classes, and it had no desire to be a health coach. She just wanted to do kids cooking classes to like get kids in the kitchen. And then the parents were like, can we do this without the kids? Can you just help us eat better? And you know what I mean? And again, it was, naturally, organically happening. And I feel like if you don't keep your eyes open for those opportunities, you will miss them, thinking that you have to do this thing that you've set your mind out to.
Yeah, I mean, I've had bookkeepers who are health coaches. We have attorneys who are health coaches. I have copywriters who are health coaches, and they've helped me in my business because they understand my business like another attorney would not, another accountant would not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they are helping me, and together we're changing the world. Each one of us does not have to be Ms. Health Coach, like sipping the green smoothie on Instagram. There's so many ways that we can create that greater good that we're all looking for. And like everyone has their gifts. Mm-hmm. So yeah, like take the mold, try it, and then break it and do the thing that works best for you. But you do have, like you said, you got to keep your eyes open for it. And for a long time, I was shutting out the possibility of working with other health coaches because that's not what I was supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, it really is the better way for me to serve.
Yeah. Okay, so earlier you mentioned that the kind of the landscape of health coaching has changed drastically in 5 years. I can feel that too because that's kind of when I entered into this was 5 years ago. So where do you see the future of health coaching kind of heading? And do you see any trends, emerging trends that as future health coaches we should be aware of?
I'm seeing a lot of changing tides in like the rules, the regulations. We have red states and green states and yellow states and what you're allowed to do where. And these are not things that anyone was ever talking about. When I started, it was not on my radar at all. I think there's a lot more legal issues to be aware of. And I'm hoping that schools will start to be more accountable in that regard. So, for example, in the US, health coaches in Ohio are pretty much banned from doing most things that a health coach would do. And they may or may not know that. They will happily enroll in a school, and the school will not mention this to them. And then once they graduate, someone like me has to break it to them. And it just feels bad. I just feel like we're all catching up. We're all trying to figure out, like, what exactly do we need to do in this industry to practice safely.
Mm-hmm.
So that's continuing to sort of unravel. I don't think anyone should feel bad about it right now. I just think it's like it's gotten messy. So I'm hoping in the next 5 years or so, it will start to become more clear, and everyone from the outset will know what this industry is that they're getting into, as opposed to it being a bit of a wild card. And the other trends I think are really booming right now is this influx of apps and tools and software. And you want to be a health coach and you feel desperate because it's not working, and so let me sell you all of my wares. And and I say this as someone who does sell programs and products to help health coaches, although I was doing it first. There's so much of it now, and I feel like it is more of a shark infested water of like, we just know that you're having trouble, we're targeting you because we know you're having a hard time. And now you're spending, I know brand new health coaches that are spending hundreds of dollars a month on these various services that they think they need in order to succeed. And I want to tell you, you need to be a health coach, you need a phone, you need a pen, and you need a pad of paper, and that's all you need to make money. So don't listen to anybody who tells you otherwise. Everything else is just like extra. It's like, try it for a while, keep your expenses as low as possible, because every time I open my computer, there's another service that's trying to get me to tell all my health coaches about what they have to offer, and I'm like, oh my god. It's too much.
My husband calls it the health coaching MLM because
Yeah.
and not just for health coaches, life coaches, anything, any kind of coach.
Yeah. Listen, there was no help when I started. There was no one helping, no one with any service. Facebook groups didn't even exist. I mean, there was very little available. And it's just the pendulum has swung so much. I would have loved to have some of these resources available to me back then. However, don't go, far into the red before you've made a dime on your own. Like, just be careful, just as you would with, spending in any category of your life. Buy what you need, make the most of it. When you're ready, maybe there's something else that you need. But my goodness, right out of school, you don't need very much.
Yeah. All right. So the last question, and probably very iconic question, is if you could go back in time to the little Michelle as she's starting off on her health coaching journey, what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself when you're starting out?
I think I needed to hear continuously, like, you have to be your own health coach first. Like, you are your number one client. And there were times in the growth of my business, and even, today, where I've hit the brink of burnout and I've had health issues, and from like working so hard or pushing myself so much or getting so discouraged because that thing that I really wanted to work didn't work. I think that it's easy. It's so funny. Like as a health coach, here you are telling everyone how to eat healthy and take care of themselves, but you're in the middle of a big launch. And so you haven't been to the gym in 3 weeks and you're eating Cheez-Its. And that's like the reality sometimes that you can fall into. You have to take care of yourself first and walk your talk, like always. Number one, or else like legit, you just won't make it. It just isn't going to work out in the end. Either the business won't work or your own health is going to fall apart. So in order to be successful, that's what I needed to hear along the way.
Very cool. Very, very cool. So I alluded to your podcast. Can you tell me a little bit more about your podcast and what do you talk about?
Yeah. So the Health Coach Power Community podcast has been going on for many, many years now. We have over 260 episodes available, everywhere that you listen to podcasts. And I mostly pull topics from our Facebook group. And you had mentioned right now we have about 14,000 members inside the Health Coach Power Community Facebook group, which all your listeners can join by just going to healthcoachpowercommunity.com. And it is a community just for health coaches, those already enrolled in a school or those already practicing. And we work very, very hard to keep all the spammers out and make sure that you're not getting bombarded with marketing messages the second that you get in the door by all different creeps that find their way into the group. We kick out like 10 people every day just because we're like, nope, you're here to market yourself. You're gone. You're gone. We work really hard to keep it a safe space. I'm very, very proud of that. So when people ask questions in the group, like right after we record this episode today, Megan, I'm doing an episode answering somebody's question that she posted like 3 days ago. And that's my favorite way to use the podcast, is to share what I know at scale. It was always one thing to answer a single person's question, but now I'm able to publish it. And, we have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of downloads. So subscribe and join the group. And I think it's like the best value out there for health coaches to get a lot of help and support for $0.
Yeah. But if somebody wanted to pay you for help, what kind of paid help do you offer health coaches when they're starting their businesses or to help them grow their businesses?
Yeah, we have courses, we have programs, we have some done for you product. It's all at healthcoachpower.com/courses.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Well, thank you so much. Been a real treat to interview you for this podcast. I feel like, again, like I've known you for years because I've just seen your face all the time. So it's one of those moments that I'm very happy to have you here. And thank you so much. It was very insightful for me as well. I heard myself in a lot of what you said. So I have a lot of thinking to do, as well as I am also trying my best to get my health coaching business. But I have ADHD, so I have shiny object syndrome, and I'm definitely in that camp of having way too many passions and trying to pursue too many things. And I really saw that in the last year have a major impact in the ability to move my business forward. And that was my little meltdown that I was telling you about before we started recording over the summer. And I'm just like, I have got to narrow my focus. I cannot keep doing 15 different things. I have to do one thing for the next 3 months. Just do one thing and keep doing that one thing. And then the next 3 months, I'm going to keep doing that one thing. And I have to now, I know that I work better in like 3-month chunks of time because I do not have that future horizon ability to push myself. So as an ADHD person, I have to have very short deadlines in order for me to push myself, and I have to be very public. So I'm learning all this stuff about myself, and it is a completely different way of working than as a employee working for someone else. So I'm going through all of those learning pains and growing pains right now. So I really do appreciate the time that you spent with us today.
You're so welcome. And I will just add that, like, even as a non-ADHD person, being an entrepreneur is inherently distracting. What about that? What about this idea? How about this other idea? I don't have a boss to tell me what to do. Therefore, everything that comes across my eyeballs, I'm going to give attention to. So it's very easy to become
Very,
distracted and unfocused. And so one of the greatest skills that you will ever learn as an entrepreneur is how to say, not right now.
yeah.
Great idea, not right now.
So maybe I put that in the hat in your question, how to plan your business goals as a health coach to keep you on track. That might be one of my questions to you for your next episode.
Oh, okay.
I'll put it into the Facebook group later on.
Yeah, throw it in the mix.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me, Megan.
Thank you.